Cognitive performance is something that is massively overlooked when it comes to achieving your goals, whether that's in your business, your health and fitness, your relationships, your finance, your personal growth outside of work. When we want to level up, grow, and make positive change in our life, we as blokes typically draft up some kind of grand plan. The focus is on doing more tasks, more boxes to tick off, more to-do lists, more expectations, more responsibility on top of your already oversubscribed schedule. The key difference for those in Up Rebuild is that we don't focus on adding more, at least not straight away. We focus on what matters whilst building your capacity alongside using strategies that help you juggle your priorities and achieve a sense of balance. Now, as cheesy as it sounds, doing this means that you're never regressing or taking steps back. Instead, you're either maintaining the areas that aren't a focus or you're pushing the areas that want or need your attention. Underlining the expansion of your capacity is understanding the systems, your physiology, your biology behind it all. You will only get yourself into a great place physically, mentally, and emotionally if you build on these foundations first. Now, in the last video, we covered arguably the most important foundation, the 5 rules that determine whether you wake up restored or running on a deficit. If you haven't watched that video, go back and make sure you watch that one first. Don't skip on it. Everything I'm about to tell you here sits on top of that. Now, sleep is only half the equation. Sleep clears adenosine, it restores the brain, helps you make better decisions, increases your tolerance to stress. It gives you a clean slate. But the morning is about what you do with that clean slate. Specifically, it's about activating your body's arousal systems quickly, deliberately, and in the right order, so that you enter the day sharp instead of dragging grogginess into your first few hours or the rest of the day. Now, you probably wake up and let the morning happen to you. You reach for your phone, check what you've missed, you drink a coffee, you scroll, get ready, and then your day starts with the roller coaster that might be getting your kids up and getting them dressed. Maybe then you spend time stuck in traffic or you dive straight into work. And then you might wonder why you feel groggy at 10 a.m. and absolutely exhausted and unfulfilled by 2. If you want to operate at your best, then the morning should not be passive. And there are 3 specific things that you can do in the first 90 minutes after waking up that determine the entire shape of your day. Now, these aren't tasks that take you 90 minutes. These are things that you can just incorporate into what you're already doing during the first 90 minutes of your day. So it's not time consuming. Number 1 is natural light, as early and as close to waking up as possible. This is the single most important thing that you can do in the morning for your cognitive performance. More important than what you eat, more important than whether you journal, more important than any supplement, and it costs nothing. When morning light, specifically the signals present in natural sunlight, when that hits your retina within the first 30 to 60 minutes of waking, it does 3 things simultaneously. 1, it triggers a cortisol pulse. Cortisol gets a bad reputation, but a morning cortisol spike is healthy and necessary. It's your body's natural wakefulness signal. It promotes alertness, mobilizes energy for the day ahead. Without it, you stay in low arousal fog. 2, it suppresses any residual melatonin still circulating from the night before. Remember from the last video, melatonin is the darkness signal. In the morning, you want it gone. Morning light is the off switch for melatonin. It's the on switch for energy, mood, and enthusiasm. 3, it sets a countdown timer. This is really important. The timing of that first morning light exposure determines when melatonin will be released again, roughly 14 to 16 hours later in the evening. Consistent morning light exposure is one of the most powerful ways to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. It anchors your circadian rhythm. It builds consistency. Now, the details do matter, and most people get them wrong. So the timing, ideally within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. Earlier is better. The window is not sometime this morning. The photoreceptors that mediate this effect are the most sensitive in the first hour after you open your eyes. Duration, 10 to 20 minutes on a clear, sunny day. 20 to 30 minutes if it's overcast, cloudy. You don't need an hour, you just need enough direct exposure for the signal to register. And the method, this is the one that people miss. It has to be direct outdoor light, not through a window, not through glass. Rushing to work in your car thinking that you're getting sunlight isn't going to work. Glass filters out much of the relevant spectrum of light. You need to be outside. And do not wear sunglasses for this. The photoreceptors in your eye need the unfiltered light to do their job. You're not going to damage your eyes by looking at the sky for 15 minutes in the morning. You're going to improve your sleep, you're going to improve your mood, and your focus for the rest of the day. A brightly lit indoor room is only a few hundred lux. That's what most people wake up to. Kitchen lights, bathroom lights, maybe a window as you open your curtains. A cloudy morning sky is 5,000 to 10,000 lux, already 20 to 50 times brighter than your kitchen. A sunny morning is 50,000 lux, 100 times brighter than your indoor light. Your brain evolved to calibrate its clock using sunlight, not light bulbs, not a lamp, no light box, no sad therapy device is a true substitute. They can supplement on dark winter mornings, but nothing replaces the real thing. If you do this one behavior consistently, 15 minutes of outdoor light within the first hour of waking up, your sleep quality the following night improves, your daytime alertness increases, your mood improves. It's the closest thing to a free cognitive performance drug. Now, you're probably going to struggle with this during the winter. If you take on board the advice that I gave you in the previous episode, there's a good chance it will result in you waking up earlier. So during the summer months, it's fine. Either not long after waking up or even before you've woken up, the sun will be out and you'll be able to get those red, orange hues as soon as you wake up. Regardless of whether it's cloudy or not, the natural light emitted from the sun is going to have a massive impact on your day. But during the winter months, I know certainly for me, particularly the morning after the night when I go to bed early with the kids, the sun might not be up in some cases for 4 or 5 hours. And on these occasions, sad lamps are better than nothing at all, but they're not a suitable replacement. And you should always get natural light at your earliest opportunity. But those lamps are better than nothing during those months when it's physically impossible because the sun doesn't rise until long after you wake up. Behavior 2, delay caffeine for 60 to 90 minutes after waking up. This is the behavior that gets the most resistance from a lot of the guys that I work with. And I understand why. It might be the first thing that you do. After opening your eyes, you head straight for the coffee machine. It feels essential, part of your everyday life. You probably do this without even thinking about it. It feels like the thing that makes the day possible. But when you wake up, there is almost always a residual amount of adenosine that was not fully cleared or processed during the night. And this is why you feel groggy in the first few minutes after waking. It's completely normal, common. It's not a caffeine deficiency. I know that's why people go and grab one. Your body has a natural mechanism for clearing this residual adenosine. It's cortisol, which rises naturally in the morning in the first 30 to 45 minutes. And one of its jobs is to metabolize the remaining adenosine and get you alert. If you consume caffeine immediately upon waking, before your body has had a chance to finish this process, then you block the adenosine receptors or sockets prematurely. And the adenosine doesn't disappear. It can't bind to its receptors because caffeine is sitting in the way. It sits there behind this blockade, waiting. And a few hours later, the caffeine wears off. All of that accumulated adenosine, the residual load from the night before, plus whatever is built up during the morning, it rushes back into the receptors at once. And this is the afternoon crash. It's not tiredness that came out of nowhere. This will be one of the main contributing factors as to why jobs that should take you 30 minutes might take you twice as long. It might be why you're more irritable, snappy, less tolerant. It's going to affect you in every aspect of your life. When you feel like this, it's no wonder you might put off the idea of going to the gym after work, for example. Now, if you wait 60 to 90 minutes before your first intake of caffeine, something different happens. The cortisol response has time to do its job. The residual adenosine is cleared naturally. And when you finally drink your coffee, it's working on a clean slate. The effect is stronger. The crash is milder to non-existent, and your sleep the following night is less disrupted because there's less caffeine circulating in your system by bedtime, provided that your last coffee isn't closer to 10 or 12 hours before bedtime, like we discussed in the previous video. Now, the practical rule is mega simple. Wake up, get your morning light, move your body, hydrate, water, salt, and then 60 to 90 minutes after waking up, have your first coffee. If you normally wake up at 6 a.m., then your first caffeine intake or coffee should be between 7 and 7:30. And if that feels impossible, Start with 45 minutes and then work your way up. Most blokes that I start working with who try this for a week report that their energy is more stable across the whole day. Fewer peaks, fewer crashes, more sustained alertness, and they don't need as much caffeine to get the same effect. Behaviour 3, cold exposure or physical movement to raise your core temperature. Wakefulness is partly a function of your core temperature. Your temperature naturally dips by about 1 or 2 degrees Celsius during sleep. It's the lowest around 4 or 5 in the morning if you go to bed at a reasonable time. And it begins to rise as you approach your natural wake time. You can accelerate this rise in temperature deliberately. And when you do, you shorten the gap between feeling awake and feeling alert. Now, there are 2 ways in which you can do this, and you don't necessarily need to do both. You can pick one or you can do both. Option 1 is cold exposure. A cold shower, a cold plunge if you have access to one, even just 30 to 60 seconds of cold water at the end of a hot shower. What happens when you expose your body to cold water is a sympathetic nervous system response. Adrenaline and noradrenaline are released. Heart rate increases, blood flow is redirected to vital organs, and crucially, your body immediately begins working to rewarm itself, which raises your core temperature. The result is a sharp, immediate increase in alertness. You're not slowly waking up over 90 minutes or so, you're awake now. And I know the cold is not comfortable, and that's kind of the point. The discomfort is the mechanism behind how all of this works, the benefits. Option 2 is physical movement. It could be bodyweight exercise, a short run, a brisk walk, any form of physical training. Movement raises core temperature. Your muscles are generating heat as they work, as they contract. It also increases cerebral blood flow, which directly improves cognitive performance, and it reinforces the signal to your body that the day has started. Now, you can combine them, and that's obviously optimal. Movement followed by cold exposure is the most potent, impactful thing that you can do. But either alone, by themselves, is also sufficient. The goal isn't to make yourself miserable or add more tasks to your morning. It's to give your body a clear, unambiguous signal that the sleep phase is over and the day has started. Nothing in between, no slow, groggy transition. A deliberate physiological shift from rest to readiness. Now, putting the 3 together. So here is what the first 90 minutes of your day in an ideal world could look like or should look like if you implement all 3 of these behaviors together. So you wake up, you don't look at your phone, you go outside and you get 10 to 20 minutes of natural light on your face, more if it's cloudy or raining. No sunglasses, no glass between you and the sky. Then you move your body, perhaps you do this at the same time, a walk, some body weight work, and then a cold shower maybe. Whatever you choose, the point is to raise your core temperature and trigger your arousal systems. Then, and only then, 60 to 90 minutes after you've opened your eyes, you drink your first coffee. And that's it. 3 behaviors, no cost. It's not taking up any more of your time unless you do decide that you want to do a workout for your movement. But if that's the case, you're still not really losing any time because you're moving what you would have done or wanted to do later in the day to earlier on. And that's a great thing to do because you'll no doubt probably allow you to feel less oversubscribed and more present with your family in the evening anyway. And the difference between doing these 3 things and not doing them is ultimately the difference between spending the first half of your day climbing out of a hole and starting from a position of genuine sharpness and focus and enthusiasm. Now, on understanding these things, you can start to see how much more effective, switched on, and productive your day is likely to be. Your previous excuse of not having time starts to disappear because you're performing at a much higher level and getting more done in the time that you have available. Now, at this point, we've built the foundation. Sleep is hopefully dialed in or is getting dialed in. Your morning routine, hopefully as of tomorrow, is activating your brain and body correctly. You're awake, you're alert, you sit down to work, but what if you then feel like your brain doesn't cooperate or perform like you want it to? You're at your desk physically, you're present, but mentally you're somewhere else. And maybe you're still carrying the conversation that you had with your partner the night before, a confrontation or an uncomfortable conversation with someone, the chaos of getting the kids ready in the morning, the apprehension about the meeting later on today. You've physically moved from home life into a focused work block, but your brain didn't make the same crossing with you. And that is exactly what the next video covers. If you want to learn all about the pillar pivot that bridges your morning into actual focused work, the next video in this series is on screen now. Click through and I'll see you in there.